Dan Moore here. What I have here is my guitar I use sometimes to entertain myself, to practice some songs. And one thing about guitars is you have to periodically tune the strings. And of course on this one I've got this nice little gadget here. Back in the old days, before they came up with these electronic tuners, you would use a pitch pipe, or you'd use someone else's guitar that was tuned and hit your string with theirs and see if it was and adjust it until it was in harmony. Or you could use the frets here. If you got the E string on top here in tune, then you would just work with the frets and all the way down. So there's different ways you could keep in tune. And why do I say this? Well, are you in tune with God? Are you in tune with your fellow believers in Jesus Christ? You know, the Apostle Paul gives us this advice in the letter to the church in Philippi, chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do. And the God of peace shall be with you. So this is how we tune ourselves up. As Paul says, all these things that we know that are honest and true and whatnot that we get from scriptures, we meditate on them, what we've learned, and then the key thing is do. And another way of thinking of this is Paul says, follow after my example as I follow after Christ. I think of guitar strings. When you're tuning them up, you want them to, what you're trying to do is get the same vibration at the same frequency, whether it's a thick string or a thinner string. When you're tuning it in, that's why we have, you have the frets to get those notes. You have one string that's in tune, and the others are tuned to it as you go down it. And so in the church, what we are doing, we're tuning each other up. We're encouraging one another. When we gather together, we edify and encourage one another. And that's how we maintain being in tune. And of course, you have to stretch the string or loosen the string a little bit. Sometimes in our life, we haven't stretched enough or tried the Bible enough to see that it works. And this is how we through experience, we read something in Scripture, like, say, for instance, in our giving, our stewardship. Are we budgeting well? Are we giving from the heart? And are we striving to give from the heart? This is where we're stretching. And sometimes a string might be overly stretched on a guitar. So just like our lives, sometimes we have too much stress in our life. And there's something to be said about relaxing, being anxious for nothing. The Bible has the principle that one day in seventh, the Sabbath day, the day of rest, that we should take time to rest and reflect on God. And so we don't want to be overly stretched and stressed in all that we do. So my challenge to you is, if you're feeling out of tune with life and with the Lord, maybe it's time to get a tune up. Maybe it's time to adjust yourself, either to, maybe to reflect, have some time to reflect and loosen up a little bit to get back in tune with God. Or if you haven't been walking with the Lord, then get back in with Him and be in tune with Him, be in step with Him. We don't want to run ahead of God. We don't want to run behind God. We want to walk with God. And that keeps us in tune by being in Scripture, being in prayer, being in fellowship with the believers, learning from one another, and going out and sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. That's today's devotional word today. So challenge yourself. Are you in need of a tune-up? Take care.